I mean, Sujit, let's face it, the Democrats run the Financial Services Committee, and he was supposed to testify this week under oath. What prosecutor would not want their subject to testify under oath? But the Democrats who run the committee made sure he was arrested before he could actually go under oath and talk about all that money that they received.
Let's just call it for what it is. The Democrat Party did not want Sam Bankman-Fried to whistleblow about all the effing money that he gave them for the presidency, and there's all sorts of collusion with Ukraine, and you could just see how this rabbit hole goes right up there with like the Epstein files, and there's so many different conspiracies that are going on, and the Democrat Party wanted to silence him, make sure that he couldn't talk on what was actually going, because they were supposed to protect him. And what is this happening? Is being in a prison protecting Sam Bankman-Fried, 30-year-old dude, or in his 30s, probably is thinking the latter. We live in a world of censorship and hypersensitivity. You can't say silly words. We had the president of the United States banned from social media, and you've had so many other people that get removed from their offices, their jobs, because they didn't agree with what was going on during this crazy movie-like pandemic where there was just so much going on. It was hard to tell what was true and what wasn't. And one thing I learned from it, being a young adult, is the media is out to just make a quick buck. You know, we live in a clickbait type of a scenario, and they're the founding fathers of it. So we all know Sam Bankman-Fried took a bunch of money, and it was a Ponzi scheme. He was robbing Peter to pay Paul, and we also have Kevin O'Leary, who was paid $15 million from FTX. He's trying to cover his own ass, saying this.
This is a simple case in my mind of where did the money go? And I said, Sam, walk me back 24 months. Tell me the use of proceeds of the assets of your company. Where did you spend it? And then he told me about a transaction that occurred over the last 24 months, the repurchase of his shares from Binance, his competitor. I didn't know this at the time, but at some point, CZ or Binance, who runs Binance, purchased 20% ownership in Sam Bankman-Fried's firm for seed stock. And then, over time, and I asked him, what would compel you to spend $2 billion was the number he was giving me at that time. Later, in a subsequent conversation, about 24 hours later, he told me it could have been as much as $3 billion to buy back the shares from CZ. I asked him, what would compel you to do that? Why wouldn't you keep your assets on your balance sheet? And why would you offer this to just one shareholder? He said, because every time we went to get licensed in different jurisdictions, because you must understand the prize of crypto is to get regulated. Apparently, according to Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ would not comply with the regulators' request in these different geographies, these different jurisdictions, to provide the data that would clear them for a license. He withheld it, according to Sam Bankman-Fried. The only option the management and Sam Bankman-Fried had was to buy him out at an extraordinary valuation of close to $32 billion, less apparently a 15% discount. That stripped the balance sheet of assets. You ask me why it went bankrupt? Go to the last week. All of a sudden, in social media, CZ is asking for another $500 million. But Binance is a massive, unregulated, global monopoly now.
1,000% trying to save his own ass and blaming somebody else for what Sam Bankman-Fried did. Like, oh, he didn't know anything about it. It's all Binance's fault. It's all their fault. Yes, regulation is coming to crypto, and we need regulation. I've been saying this for forever. It hasn't been a popular opinion when I'm on Around the Blockchain, but regulation is needed in order for hyper growth in crypto, because cryptocurrency is going to change how the whole SWIFT system is and how we send money and receive money. It's already digitized. It's already digital. There's no such thing as really fiat money anymore. It's all digital, except for there's some people in control that can just print more and more. Typically, our Federal Reserve, can just print. That's why Bitcoin is so important. But the new version is going to be the same, but faster. And decentralized finance, I think, is incredibly important. Web3. However, Kevin O'Leary is just trying to save his ass as to, hey, I got paid $15 million, but let's not talk about that. It's all Binance's fault. Binance, you know, they're the business crooks. I've never done something like that in my life. And so I really enjoy what Senator Loomis said. And this case is continuingly to go on, and I'll be surprised if Sam Bankman-Fried does really any jail time, considering who he's paid off as far as friends go.
We're conflating topics today. Digital assets are not on trial. Fraud and organizations are on trial. So let's separate digital assets from corrupt organizations.